Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today, I'm going to be bringing to you a couple of games that were submitted to me by a friend of mine. He actually ran into Complexity's drewbie on the ladder and asked whether I would cast a couple of the games that he played against him. So I said, sure, why not? I haven't seen drewbie in a while. It's been a while since I've seen him get far in any kind of tournaments. For a while, he was doing really well. For those of you that don't know, drewbie is a Canadian Terran player. Did really well at a few MLGs last year, but this year we haven't seen too much from him yet, so I'm really curious to see what kind of play he is going to be going for here. So, drewbie is going to be spawning here in the bottom left position as the blue Terran. His opponent spawning in the bottom right position of Shakuras Plateau as the red Terran is acslayer. Now, I talked a little bit to my friend to see what kind of style he was going for, what was he thinking in this matchup, what was he going to be going for. And he said that he knew that drewbie is very big on bio. He loves going for bio, doing lots of things with drops, doing big kind of doom drop styles of play. So he decided that he was going to go for a little bit more safer style of play, go for mech, go for Hellions, maybe do some Banshees, maybe do some Hellion drops, things like that. Get an early Blue Flame Hellion, maybe try to get into a little bit of harassment mode. But for the most part, just playing nice and safe. As you can see, both players so far playing very standard opening. So far, both players just going for that one barracks. The spawning positions on this map do allow for some Banshee play. It is common to see Banshees used on Shakuras Plateau just because you have this large area back here where you can kind of send lots of dropships, Banshees, that kind of thing. So it can come into play in the mid to late game. Gonna see if either player decides to go for any Banshees or dropships in this particular game. Now it looks like drewbie's going to be going for a little bit earlier scout than his opponent, acslayer, deciding that he's not going to scout here for a little bit. That's relatively safe in TVT. The only things that you really have to be worried about this early on is any kind of funky 2-racks plays, and it looks like acslayer is actually just going to be going for a very fast, blind, 1-racks expand, hasn't scouted his opponent at all, has no idea what his opponent is doing, so this can be a little bit dangerous here, but it looks like this first Marine is going to be out, going to be able to get a free SCV kill at the very least. If he micros well, and looks like drewbie does actually manage to get away with that SCV, knowing that his opponent went for that command center. And it looks like first Marine is now on the way, and it looks like drewbie going to be throwing down an expansion of his own here. In the base of drewbie, as you can see, he is gone for that 1-racks expand as well now. But because acslayer went for that earlier command center, his orbital command is going to be a little bit delayed. So as you can see, drewbie's is already up, and he's now starting to rally a few units forward to his opponent's base because he's going to know that his opponent just can't really have a whole lot here. But it looks like acslayer going to be playing it very safe, throwing down the bunker. Already has a couple of Marines down here in the front, just now taking his 2 gas geysers, and also getting up a few more Marines out of this one barrack. So I think he's going to be really safe here. If drewbie wanted to do any kind of big all-ins, at this point it would be really difficult to do, just because of the time it would take to get up more barracks and that kind of thing. This is definitely a smart move for drewbie right now to just take an expansion of his own, and it looks like drewbie going to be going for a little bit of aggression here. He's going to poke up the ramp, but this could be deadly for drewbie, as acslayer is going to get a lot of free shots off, as drewbie's not going to have a whole lot of vision up that ramp, and acslayer only taking a little bit of damage on 1 Marine. Drewbie losing 2 Marines, now being forced to pull back there. Not sure about that move by drewbie. The only thing that he really gained from pushing up there is that he saw a bunker there. He got the Marine count from his opponent, so he knows that his opponent hasn't gone for anything too big behind this quite yet, just because he knows that his opponent's Marine count is almost identical to his, so there can't be a whole lot of extra things that his opponent is spending resources on. In the base of drewbie, we can see that a couple more barracks have gone out here, though he is continuing to produce Marines out of 2 of them. He is getting a tech lab on 1 of them, going to be getting some upgrades here, has a nice little wall of Marines at the front to defend. If we check out the harvester count right now, yeah, both players are absolutely identical in that worker count. Definitely at this level of play, you don't want to be missing any SCV production at all. You want constant SCV production out of your orbital commands, and more or less in a TVT matchup, you should more or less have the same number of workers as your opponent. Unless they go for some kind of harassment and get a lot of worker kills in, then you should always have the same number of workers, and that's one thing that you can watch for in your own replays. You can watch for, in TVT, do you have the same number of workers or more than your opponent at all points in time? Because if you don't, well, it could be that you're going for a late command center, it could be that you're just not on top of that SCV production, and that is always something that you want to be absolutely on top of. Now, it looks like acslayer is a little bit supply blocked here, but he is getting up a very fast third hidden command center here in this northern expansion here that drewbie is most likely not going to scout for quite a while, so that could pay off quite a bit for acslayer. His army count is going to be a little bit low just because he is getting that super fast command center there. So will drewbie pick up on that? We will have to see. So far, drewbie playing really, really safe, sitting back right now, just continuing to get up more and more Marines, getting up those bioforces. As we can see, factory going down, as well as a reactor. Starport now going up as well, so it looks like drewbie is most likely going to be swapping that starport onto that reactor, getting some medevacs up for all of his bioforces. As we can see, he is now getting double reactor up. Looks like combat shield is just now finishing up for drewbie. No stim coming down yet, but there is a +1 attack upgrade coming down along the way, so it looks like acslayer was so far correct in his prediction that drewbie is going to be going for bio because, well, as we can see, drewbie going for pretty heavy bio at this point in time. Now, acslayer just now getting up this third base here. Man, if drewbie does not scout that, that is actually going to be a huge loss there. That is going to make such a huge difference in this game. As we can see, supply depot wall off starting to go down at the front. Hellion production has now started as he is searching blue flame upgrades on one of these tech labs. Double factory is currently up. There is a banshee on the way as well for acslayer as well as cloak, so he's going for quite a bit of tech here. Looks like it's going to be blue flame hellions, and this banshee here is going to be cloaked, going to be able to get quite a few kills so far. No detection at all going down for drewbie, that is, except for his orbital command. Oh wait, nope, I am incorrect in that. Missile turret has gone down here for drewbie, and he does have a nice little line of Marines here, so he does know that his opponent could go for some kind of a banshee play, and he's playing it very, very safe. Really like that. Also like this from acslayer, patrolling this one SCV back and forth over. Now he's going to see that this Marine is here, but this Banshee is now coming in here, spotting that a command center was just being thrown down by drewbie. Gonna be most likely forced to cancel that command center here. Not immediately going for any kind of workers, but needs to be very careful. Gonna pull back here as drewbie is trying to get a good surround with a whole lot of Marines. The command center did get canceled. Another one is immediately being thrown down here by drewbie. Now, I do love this sensor tower here from acslayer. He's taking advantage of the fact that he knows his opponent goes for heavy bio, and therefore drops are definitely a big possibility here. So getting up this early sensor tower is going to mean that any drops that come along this back alley are going to be spotted real early. Even has missile turrets up in position to scout any kind of dropships coming around the back. Absolutely love that from acslayer. Now we do have a third factory now coming down. Looks like siege mode is on the way. Siege tank production is beginning now as well. We do also have a Raven coming out here for acslayer, so he is fully going mech in this game. Small force of units is coming up at the front, though, for drewbie, but I just don't know if it's going to be quite enough. There's a scan going down here, but all of these blue flame hellions are coming down right now. Will they get off a whole lot of damage? These blue flame hellions are going to get through these Marine numbers so quick. And as you can see, those Marines dying so fast to these blue flame hellions going down so quick, and drewbie now being forced to pick up and get out of there. Nice auto turret going down here by acslayer, just getting that little bit of extra DPS going down. And now acslayer continuing to get more SCVs going at this upper expansion. As we can see, lots and lots of missile turrets going down once again to protect from drops. And it looks like drewbie actually scouting this third right now, expecting his opponent to have a third very soon. But as we can see, acslayer took a sneaky one quite a bit earlier here, so his economy is going to be getting quite a bit ahead of drewbie's here very soon. And all these forces going to be catching these blue flame hellions a little bit out of position as acslayer trying to pull back to try to defend him. Gonna do a little bit of a trick there through the tall grass there, but doesn't manage to work out too well as drewbie manages to keep forces on both sides. Drewbie is now taking a third of his own, but it is quite a bit behind acslayer, so acslayer going to be getting up pretty high in economy. If we check out the harvester count right now, yeah, you can see that acslayer is starting to get up in that SCV count, and that is going to make a huge difference here very soon, just because these minerals are really, really going to start to pay off. What he really needs to do, though, is he really needs to start getting some gas soon, just because when you're going for These factory style plays where you're going for heavy mech, lots and lots of siege tanks, the resource that you're really banking on is going to be gas. You're really relying on these gas heavy units like siege tanks, maybe banshees, but gas is your biggest resource. Minerals, when you're going mech, are really not a problem. A lot of meching players will start to get really high on minerals. So exchanging these Hellions for Bioforces, absolutely okay for ASUS. Because if you think about it, drewbie is going for bio. This is very mineral heavy. So very mineral heavy that if ASUS starts trading his mineral heavy units, which are not really all that important to him, for mineral heavy units of drewbie, well, he's going to be taking out good chunks of drewbie's army, and this is where mech can be really super efficient. Just need to be sure you get into good position, but there is a drop going down in the main of ASUS. Looks like does manage to stop this command center from going down, but ASUS does back in time to stop that drop from doing too much damage. But in the meantime, forces are going to be stimming and coming right in the front door of ASUS, and ASUS's Blue Flame Hellions, though, they are pretty quick, managed to get down there in time. Siege tanks now all getting into position to start to defend this base from going down. Now the big question for me right now is, does drewbie yet know about this expansion? No, he still has no idea. He thinks his opponent is just on 2 bases here, probably feeling pretty confident here, taking his 4th and saying, hey, you know what, I've been on this 3rd for oh so long, I have got to be way ahead here. But ASUS, as we can see, is getting way ahead in the food count now. 140 supply to the 107 of drewbie, because drewbie just doesn't realize that this other expansion is now up, and ASUS now moving forward to try to take center map control. I love this move here from ASUS just because siege tanks are so good at space controlling, and this is going to make it really hard for drewbie to control the center of the map, and center map control on Shakuras Plateau is so critically important. Once a meching player starts to move out, starts to take center map control, you can basically just start taking expansions as you want. As you can see, that's exactly what ASUS is just trying to do. All you need to do, throw up enough missile turrets to really be able to defend against any kind of drops, and then you control the entire center middle ground area, and then you are going to be in a very strong position, as it's going to be real hard for your opponent to try to deny bases. But that's what drewbie's going to be trying to do here as he moves in with a good number of bio forces. These forces are all currently 2-1 in upgrades. We do see 3-2 is currently on the way here, and it looks like there's going to be a double drop going into the main right now for drewbie. He's going to lose 1 Marauder in that unit, but inside that medevac, but it looks like all the ground forces have been now cleaned up for ASUS, now adding Thors into the mixture, but all of these units are now moving into the main, starting to do a lot of damage, but a Thor pops out just in time to be able to thwart all of these Marauders from dealing too much more damage, as looks like that Thor is going to be chasing all of these units down. Oh, looks like drewbie is actually going to go down here, maybe even get a few more SCV kills, but Hellions are now moving into the 3rd of drewbie, getting a few kills here, as well as a Banshee, and now behind this, all the Thors are moving forward, as well as the siege tanks here, putting drewbie in a bit of a tough spot here. drewbie now sitting at 100 food to the 153 food of ASUS as ASUS takes his 4th while putting pressure on his opponent. This 4th is now completely protected, so safe to do, and it looks like that command center is getting really close to burning down here, and now it looks like ASUS just going to move up to this northern position and start to deal damage, stop mining at this base, and drewbie doesn't really have a whole lot of army to really be able to stop any of this at all. He's got a lot of barracks, but just not that many resources. He's got a lot of minerals saved up right now, but with all of this resource stopping right here, looks like he's going to be losing so many workers so far. Holy cow, 31 workers killed so far for ASUS to the 15 of drewbie, which is not bad, but ASUS is starting to look pretty close to max right now, already sitting at 180 supply to the 90 supply of drewbie, and I love this move here from ASUS, making sure, even though that siege tank was up on the ground, wanted to siege up these siege tanks to be sure that in case he gets flanked from the back, he's going to have forces there able to defend, and as we can see, he's continuing to macro up tons and tons more forces back home as well. Now ASUS just going to be content to deny this 3rd base. That command center did get lost, as well as this one, it looks like, so drewbie losing both of his command centers, now having no bases to mine on whatsoever. Looks like ASUS is in a fantastic position to win this game, now sitting at 200 supply. Looks like double Banshee now coming in the back here for drewbie, as he's going to try to come in and get some worker kills, but ASUS being real good about throwing up lots and lots of missile turrets once again, because just minerals are just not that important to meching players. So I think, looks like they are actually going to be sneaking around the back here. They might actually be able to do some good damage. Looks like he's going to go for that armory, which is currently researching vehicle weapons level 3, but drewbie's moving in with his forces right now, and the siege tank count for acslayer is just way too high, and there is no way that drewbie is really going to be able to do too much damage despite having these 2 banshees in the main. Looks like acslayer just going to start to push forward behind drewbie's push with a few siege tanks and a few Thors, and this is going to be so hard to stop for drewbie as he just doesn't really have a whole lot here to be able to defend. Now pulling back with the 1 medevac that has units, and here we go. drewbie moving forward right now, trying to do as much damage as he can, but these siege tanks picking up so many SCV kills, not really able to do that much damage, trying to soak up some damage with those SCVs, but just not quite going to be able to do it. Looks like he is going to be able to stop that Thor, but the reinforcements of acslayer are just going to be moving across the map here really soon, and drewbie is just going to GG out of this game. But that is not it, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, acslayer went right back in and got matched up against drewbie a second time. So will he be able to pull out a win in Game 2 of these 2 ladder matches? Stick around and find out.